Hello everyone, DonTheCrown here, and it is the end of day 1 here for Season 5, and we've hit level 100. It took about 10 hours. We finished the entire battle pass as well, all 90 tracks. We're not very far on the season journey. We actually did not do a lot of this stuff. I did finish the entire reputation track for the new season. It's actually pretty cool. You get a resplendent spark and a whole bunch of other materials as you go. And one of the very interesting things about it is it doesn't end at 20 ranks. There's actually like an infinite gaining reputation thing. We're going to continue to get loot. I've already cashed in one of these and I got like one GA item, 2 other legendaries, and then like a couple of other, like I think 2 yellows and a blue. And you can kind of see it here, just continues to go forever and ever and ever. And yeah, I think this is a pretty cool system. So you're going to continuously get rewarded for playing the game. And you do get ranks of this basically for doing everything in the game, killing any sorts of enemies, refilling it up, and then you do get the resplendent spark here at tier 20. Now, I'm pretty sure that if you go and make a second character, you'll be able to level up and get this to pop off as well, which is pretty cool. But we ended up actually playing Incinerate. I know I said I was going to play Firewall, and I did get a Fists of Fate pretty early from one of my teammates here. Do I have them? The problem with this glove was just that the unique roll on it was pretty low, and I ended up actually switching to playing Incinerate as opposed to playing Firewall. I still think Firewall is going to be really, really great, especially in the late game. It does so much damage, 322% damage over 8 seconds, whereas you're doing like 343% here over 2 seconds. This is at like rank 11 versus rank 5, so pretty big difference in terms of the levels. But Firewall was definitely just not keeping up with the fact that our group was just going so fast. We got a pretty early Fractured Winterglass, and we put this on our other Sork, and he was just like murdering a whole bunch of stuff and going really quickly. And Flameball was just really not keeping up. Incinerate just felt a lot better for the leveling process for my group. I did make a quick video talking about Starlight aspect. This is a great aspect you want to get into your build. Do some life on hit. Life on hit just feels insane on damage over time builds. You end up doing that. So it's pretty good. Highly recommend that. We also ended up getting a Harlequin crest here on like our 5th or 6th, not Uber, just regular Duriel kill. And yeah, pretty exciting. Our 3rd kill actually, Coltrane got a Tyrael's Might, so pretty good so far. Overall, the entire process of the season felt pretty good. I feel like Infernal Hordes feels so much better than it did in the PTR. You do get so many of these little compasses, though. These things just absolutely flood up your inventory. I kind of wish there were a little bit less of these and they rewarded you more sigil powder, but you get a ton of access to the mechanic, and it is kind of incredibly thick. And here, I'll show you an example of what we're talking about. There's just a ton of enemies coming at you. The waves are shorter, and there's just a lot more enemies that come at you for sure. And we were doing the 2nd tier of this, which is like level 75, pretty early on in World Tier 4. And it was a great experience in terms of experience. The loot is actually pretty good. It's really easy to get all of the chests. Now the big chest is now only 60, but I don't think it shows up until the 3rd tier. So it needs to be like level 100 or above. It means you need to be able to handle that type of content. And yeah, just kind of like running around killing tons of enemies, and these really get insane, especially we were doing some higher tier ones. As you can see, just tons of enemies coming at me here, and this makes it like a lot of fun. It scales up quite a bit. So this is a tier 3 one, so it's like a level 100. This one's probably even a little bit too easy for me right now. We did, I think, a tier 5 earlier tonight. And all you got to do is just kind of kill stuff, and more monsters just keep coming at you. This is a great way to get experience, and it's probably going to be the premier way of like level boosting your friends, as long as they can stay alive. Especially if you get like 4 people, you can spread out quite a bit and get all of these like 4 spots that things can spawn covered. And yeah. Now after you finish a wave, obviously there's going to be these infernal offers in the middle here, and they're going to give you different choices of things. I always like to do any of these ones that give you more resources. So even though Hellfire Raining Down does give me more resources, Hellborn do, like, you know, when they spawn, they're a little bit weaker than they are in Helltide, and they just give you a lot of juice here. The important thing to note though is that even when you do get bosses and stuff, you do want to kind of focus on killing the non-elite enemies as much as you possibly can, because that's what's filling up the bar over here on the side. And so even if you have like bosses running around or hellborn minions running around, you always kind of want to be prioritizing the non-elites. So you kind of just like watch your mini map here for where those are. As you can see, we're getting a lot of these hellborns, and the hellborns are great because they don't like require you to walk over to them to activate them like these elites do, or the masses do. They'll just kind of run right over to you, which just makes them probably the best option in terms of events to happen. Whereas like soul spires and stuff, you have to get inside of them, especially if you're like playing an incinerate build like this. You don't really want to walk anywhere when you're playing this build. And yeah, so as you can see, each of the waves is relatively quickly getting cleared here. And sure, we'll go with this one. Yeah, so it's doing a lot of damage, and this is a really, really fun build. And I'm just really enjoying the lead mechanic now quite a bit more than it was in the PTR. The PTR, it felt like you took forever to get access to the mechanic, and then on top of that, the mechanic just felt kind of slow. And as you can see, like, we're just getting tons of enemies. The XP really does flow in here pretty hard. And the only thing I think is kind of a downside is clearing this a tier 3 one can be a little bit difficult as you're like kind of working your way up. There's definitely a big step up in difficulty from the tier 1 version, whereas like we were kind of, or the tier 2 version, we were doing tier 2s, which are level 75 monsters, but then going up to this one, which is level 100 monsters, was a lot more difficult for sure. And so you might want a better build, maybe get some help some friends, but definitely worth checking this out. And I think at the end here, the loot is pretty solid. They lowered the cost of all of the chests. We're getting a lot more from doing these. All of these are kind of bad options. The one I would highly recommend looking out for is called the Exalted Hordes, by the way. Exalted Hordes makes it so that you get basically 50% more progress on the meter for killing normal enemies. It makes normal enemies hit harder, which is kind of annoying for the crossbow lads. But besides that, just getting more events is just absolutely insane. Eventually, like, we've gotten like, I think 2 or 3 stacks of this particular modifier, and it just keeps coming. There's just non-stop events. The events just continuously stack up on top of each other. Like, wow, there's actually no enemies on the board at the moment. We're killing things quite quickly because we're kind of beyond this in terms of power level right now. Could probably put enough for. As you can see, the enemies, they just don't stop. They just don't stop. And I really do think this will be the best way to get experience. It's a little bit unfortunate because you don't get any sort of nightmare like, you don't get your glyphs. Glyphs don't drop here, and you don't get any, like, glyph experience. But, yeah. So we go Aether Fiends here to give us more Aether. And really, this is what we're stacking up here. Aether is the thing that's going to allow us to open up boxes at the end. The big box is now only 60 Aether. It was like 250 in the PTR. But now it's only 60, and it gives you quite a bit of loot, like several GAs. Oh, we got the Butcher! So the Butcher can actually show up in here. He's one of the card options that you can like force the Butcher onto the map. And then on top of that, you can you know, encounter him randomly, as you just saw. So it's definitely a fun event here. A lot of action going on. I'm looking forward to probably pushing this up and seeing like how difficult and how deep into the mechanic we can get. You see, I'm just like pretty much focusing on killing all of the little guys. They're the things that are going to help me spawn more events. And when you're killing stuff with a Soul Spire, I don't think it has to be inside the Soul Spire. You just have to be inside the Soul Spire. So you can just like stand inside of it and shoot out. It'll be totally fine. All right, so this can give us bosses here. So Mass is now summoned a boss. We always start off with a mass, so this will have a boss here. The bosses, some of them seem to be incredibly squishy, like that one there, and then some of them seem to be kind of tanky. But like I said, we're kind of like overtuned right now in terms of power level for sure. I think I can almost kill Uber Lilith on this build if I was playing like nearly perfectly. The damage is probably a little bit lacking right now. I was a little bit surprised to see actually that Lucian was a little bit behind Harlequin Crest in terms of damage. At least when I was just like looking at my damage numbers while we were doing this event. Like switching between the two crowns. Because yeah, I was like running out of mana sometimes if we were killing stuff too quickly. I wasn't able to like life on hit or get my healing from having burning guys near me. Which was kind of an awkward feeling to have, kind of being too powerful, kind of suffering from success, if you would. I don't know what that red flash was. So sometimes also the bosses will do some like crazy room-wide attacks. And so we finished our 6 waves. Now we're going to go up here to the council. And yeah, there's always 3 bosses up here. And we're just going to go murder them. For some reason, the guy that's here... Oh, he's not showing up this time. So that like Maffer guy is the first one to your left when you come in. We got him like every single pull for the first like 20 runs or so. And yeah, so you know, these guys are not all that bad if you're doing quick runs. And so you have 4 different options here. You're going to see tons of Mother's Gifts. And they also drop Burning Aether themselves. So we have 240. This chest up here only requires 60 Aether. You can only open it 1 time. So we got a unique, we got 2 GAs, we got a scroll. And then you can either choose between opening up more loot or getting materials or spending it for gold. So I'll show you an example of each one here. We got some legendaries there. That was actually a GA sword. Open up another one. Look, we got some gloves. Some new Endurant Faith. 1 more. And you can see, like, this is actually quite a bit of, loot that you're getting. Like, typically we're like filling out our entire inventory here. And the materials, we're getting quite a bit of gems and stuff. This is very good for like, getting scattered prisms. And, I'm kind of like running low on those already. And, getting a whole bunch of the gem stuff is really useful as well. And then with 60 of these, we can go click on gold. We're at 70.3 million right now. It'll probably give us, I don't know how many million gold. It's about 3 million gold for that. So it's not really all that bad, especially if you're really looking just to farm gold and maybe just farm some, credit in here for the mother stuff. This is actually a pretty good way to get the progression. Let me know what you guys think about the league or the season so far. It's been a lot of fun and really excited to be playing Sork. I have a whole bunch of builds planned. We're doing Fireball. I have some Meteor stuff going on. And right now, like maybe try and get like our Firewall build going soon. I really do need a really good Fist of Fate to make that happen though. Hope you guys have a good one. And thanks again. See you soon.